good day, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Monday, and we're at the 17th of March, 2025. Interesting day. Everything in the green today in the stock indices. That's pretty interesting. By the way, I'm going to start covering the DAX in my futures. I did it over the weekend, and I was going to cover it today. I hope to have it in there tomorrow. It takes a little bit of prep that I have to get done. Didn't have the time tonight. You can see that the bonds were up a little bit. BND, oil was up nicely on the day. Tesla getting hit. And it's interesting in Tesla. I have a piece of work that lost its bearish embedded reading. So this pullback in Tesla, to me at least, looks as though the market might be getting ready to capture some of these shorts and give you a pop to the upside. It's all technical. We'll see. I'm certainly wrong if you make a new low in Tesla off the recent lows. NVIDIA tried to rally today, and you know, they have their GTU conference tomorrow where Jensen Huang is going to be the headline speaker. And this is often where he pep talks what NVIDIA is doing, the new products, where they're taking things. And the market has a tradition of rallying up into that. It broke that tradition today. NVIDIA is really getting out of favor. It's something we have to keep our eye on. It's very important. Uranium. Do you remember a while back when I said I had a client of mine that was all enamored, actually wanted to be an assistant, and I kept telling him, you're too focused on uranium. You're betting your whole thing on it. And market finally got up to the $28 to $30 range plus. It's given it all back. Got to be careful of those things. My point isn't him. The point is you can't fall in love with anything. You can't get to the point where you are so committed, that's it. One of my close friends that I grew up with, next door neighbor when I was a kid, and I'm talking 12 years old until we both got out of the houses. He became a trader and he was enamored with silver. And all he would talk about is silver. You couldn't even have a conversation without silver coming up in his conversation. I don't even know if he's alive anymore. And finally, silver's at $30. But for him, he got bullish after the Hunt squeeze and then came back. And I'll never forget it. It always stuck with me. Why is he just so in love with one thing? And he was a brilliant guy. He just couldn't get away from it. Okay. Microsoft marking time. Rivian at least sticking its head back over $11 for a moment. Now, as I told you, I wanted to finish up Devon Energy and write me. Tell me what you want me to cover. Do you want me to put back in some of these? The SPY, DIA, I'm not going to do them all because I do them in the futures and they're definitely tied together. They're based on them, but I'll be happy to do that. We could rotate a few of these things out and put new ones in. Write me on YouTube. Tell me what you'd like. As you can see, the market has come down and it's consolidated. Is it ready to stick its head out and try a run to the upside? Well, our work isn't there yet, but you can see it's refusing to go down and make a low under this low. It doesn't have a trading pattern yet. It has a lower low and a higher high. I don't see anything out of that. And I see levels of resistance right in front of you, the 18-day average. And so often a market goes there to stop and stall to figure out what it's going to do. I call that the line in the sand. And right above it is the 200-day average. The Bollinger Band has not been hit since back at the beginning, middle of February, actually. And you're just sort of drifting right here. You came down a bit and now you're in the drift mode. Momentum is trying to pick up, but it's right into that neutral area. I don't see what to do there. Was this enough of a break in Dutch Brothers where the market gets interesting again? It might have run its course. So be careful here. You have the embedded reading. This is when you get these numbers, the 1835 and the 1669, and both numbers stay under 20 for a minimum of 3 trading sessions. You can see that you've done that. And once you've done that, you've got more, and that's what I wanted to show you. It began right here. So you had 1, 2, 3. So this is your sign that rallies are going to be sold in the market. Get a rally there and watch. You start coming back down. But if you get a close over 21, The unwinding of the short positions begins, and it wouldn't surprise me that you get back up and challenge the 18-day average of closes. So I'm always on the lookout for that. This is how you did it in CrowdStrike, and you can see what I'm going to show you. Now, my stochastics are different than yours. I altered the formula. I was friends with George Linn. He used to be on a TV show of mine called Stocks, Options, and Futures, and it was the old financial news network, of which I had probably the biggest hit show that there was for I don't know how many years. It was many. And it was, I think, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and we would have live, I had an audience, and we would bring in the top analysts from all over the country. And I mean, John Bollinger was on it, Prechter was on it, Joe Granville I got to meet. I mean, there were just so many of the old-time great traders, Peter Nigerian. These guys were all on my show, all right? And you get to know them, and you learn. You learn a lot, and that was the show, learning. And people would call in questions, and we would ask it to them, and they'd answer it. Well, obviously, CNN, CNBC, Fox, Bloomberg, they're all doing a version of it today. But I have to tell you, I was one of the first to do it. It began in Chicago on WTTW, and all of a sudden it was in California, and then the FNN nationwide. And it became a really cool thing to do. And it taught me how to speak like this. Well, you can see, by the way, I used to share the studio with Don Cornelius. Look up that name and you will know who it is. Soul Train. And his son was actually our sound engineer. It's crazy shows. You know, you'd go there and the dance stuff's all around. You'd have to move it out of the way to do it. It's in the top floor of the Board of Trade building. All right. So you're sitting here and you're doing all that as this market's rocking away. Let's get right to this. And you lose the embedded reading. And this is what I'm showing you. So before you come down here, typically, I wish I could tell you this happens every time. It doesn't. But I have been trading this, and I think I have a pretty good plan here. And as a minimum, I think you will go to that green line. Bingo. That's all that I care about. And this is today. And that's it. It accomplished its goal. It is not meant to be a trend trade. It's a flip out of bearish momentum or a flip out of bullish momentum. And you can use it in many different ways. All right. I just find it super interesting. And I'm always talking about it here. You're on the verge of it happening right now with Rivian. And if it occurs, probably 18-day average and the current price will try to make a run at each other if it's lost. It didn't do it. You have a 19.95 reading at this time. K-Web getting overbought into the upper Bollinger Band. I wouldn't go chasing this right now. Then we come to the builders. Now, tomorrow you're going to get, as you can see, the new permits, new starts. So this gives us an idea how the builders are doing. Interest rates have been falling. They're by no means cheap, but they have been slipping. Unfortunately, when we looked at last week, the NAHB index for homes, they were terrible. So people aren't spending, they're not doing, but those that have to will. It is mid-March. Spring is upon us. We have already changed the clocks. And if you need a house, you're soon going to go looking for it. And those that have to buy are going to buy. Will they buy new, or are they going to buy an existing home? Well, we'll see how Toll Brothers reacts to all that. In Tesla, what I said is you lost the bearish reading. Now, let me walk you through this. Here you lose it. Right watch. 23.18. So this is Friday. You pull back today. So you're able to come in either that number or here. You don't want to get under there. If you do, my theory's wrong. And if you rally, it's wherever the 18-day average is. It just got underneath the 200. There's all kinds of bearish things in Tesla. All kinds. This market has got nothing but bad news. Yet I'm getting a piece of work that says you can get a blip in the market here. In XLF, higher high, lower low, lots of resistance right here. You see the work. Today, you lost a lot of bearish readings. That's my point. XLI never had that reading. It's at a resistance point. I thought that if it rallied on Friday, I was saying to myself, it probably could rally in between here. Is there a trade-off of it? And I didn't see one. and I still don't. So I don't know what to do with that. XLE, higher lows, higher highs. You're overbought, but if it wants to continue this move, the Bollinger Band's the likely target, wherever that comes in now. Gold, overbought. I do not recommend clients buy overbought conditions, number one. Number two, I don't recommend that they buy Bollinger Bands. You can do whatever you want. I've learned the hard way in my career. Overbought in silver and at the upper Bollinger Band. If you're not in it, there's another move. There always is another move. Copper, same thing. Now, copper's at least one I understood. It was going to, and I understood gold and silver. As I told you, tariffs, inflation, you're buying gold, you're buying silver. Copper is about China, and China keeps coming out plans that they say things are getting better and how they're going to make them better, but there's never details. And I can't quite figure that part out, but I guess that's what they're doing. I looked at the economic data today. It was not on fire, and homes are still not moving, so they haven't solved their property market yet. In BND, notice how the market came down off this rally and just found that 18-day average and the 200, and it's sitting right here. Makes sense right in front of the Fed meeting, don't you think? In the dollar index, you have an embedded reading. So rallies are being sold as the market keeps looking for lower prices. When the red line's over 21, it's over. One of the objectives could be the lower Bollinger Band. And last in FXE, you have the flip-flop of it. And until it loses its bullish reading with the red under 79, the upper band. And there are other numbers. I use window envelopes also. So while you're seeing only I'm looking at a Bollinger Band, I use a window envelope in a certain way, and I do that in the subscriber videos in the morning, because if you're always playing, you're just going for the Bollinger Band, you're going to be left on second base and didn't score. So you've got to have other ways to work with it. And that's why when I'm telling people to trade in these, I'll say, let's assume you're trading 100 shares at a time, or whatever your number is, peel off X amount. And I do that, and that's the beauty of trading in the stock market, the spiders, and the ETFs. You know, if you're looking for the information on all this, because it's flying right now, we're writing about it in a big way. We're writing about the impact of Trump on the tariffs now, how they're going to affect the commodities. They're going to impact DIA, IWM, all these different parts. If you're a currency trader, you're looking at what's it going to do in Canada, Mexico, the euro. How is that going to affect things? Why do you think we broke in the market? And why do you think Trump is saying, yeah, we're going to feel a little pain? Because tariffs are inflationary, and inflation is the enemy. It takes money out of your pocket, and it starts a growth slowdown. Eventually, it comes back if you remove the tariffs. And I think the grand play that you have to understand is Trump doesn't want to put the tariffs on. He wants the countries to remove them. And if they remove them, he won't have to tariff them. That is the play. How far he's getting, they're not going to share that with you until the last minute. We will find out what they're doing. Even Mark Carney said at least the two sides from Canada are talking. And for whatever reason, President Trump has come down terribly hard on Canada, not on China, on Canada. In fact, President Xi has announced he's on his way to America. If you think I understand all this, you're better than I am. I don't. But how you get this and get this emailed to you and so on, go to iraepstein.com under free offers, and I think you'll enjoy what you see. I'm Ira. I'll catch up with you first thing in the morning. Have a great evening.